Hello again. Okay. So, wait, no, that's the wrong. Yeah. So we've been thinking about like caching, and like caching is a big topic. Performance in general is a big topic in our team, and we're trying to attack it from several places, both at the API level and at the SDK level. And caching is definitely something that helps with performance. The more caching you have, the better your performance. But caching on the client grants us ability to do a bit more than what on the server. It's ability to be kind of fine-grained and like letting you provide your own functions for how and when we cache. This is an example for the Go SDK. It's a POC, so don't please. Nothing is set in stone. Not the DX and that. But what the base of it is, we'll let you provide your own cache. So long as it satisfies a particular interface we have, you can bring in your own cache. You want to use memcache, you want to use Redis, you want to use in-memory, you want to use all three. Up to you. Go wild, basically. So you will be giving us your own kind of cache. You'll be initializing and giving to us. Also, on each check request, in the POC, we're only dealing with check. We can do the same for list objects and list users, but right now we're focusing on check for this POC. So for check, you will be able to pass a cache control function that will take the request as input, and basically be able to, based on the request, give us what the TTL you want is. So you could say things like, for the CEO, you don't expect they're going to be changing every day. Cache those for longer. Cache them for a day. For things that are less security risky, let's say photos, cache them for 30 minutes. And for like that one particular document that has all the secrets, don't cache it. Always return TTL of 0. This is what the cache control function allows you to do. Basically, you will be giving you the request. It'll take the request as input, and it will be able to give us back what is it that you want. So what is the TTL you want for that particular request? That gives you like really that kind of fine-grained, not authorization, fine-grained cache control. So this is an example app for caching. So we're initializing the cache manager. You'll be able to do this yourself, but in this particular field, it has both an in-memory cache and external Redis cache, it will look internally, and if it can't find it internally, it go to Redis. If it can't find a Redis, then it will go to OpenFGA. So that's it. So let's go through this. What is this gonna do? We're basically configuring FGA, and we're gonna configure the cache and just pass it into the client. And we'll write a few tuples and run a couple of requests, 10,000 in our case. Here, a few for Becky, a few for Carl, and a few for Dan. All right. So let's do that. Yeah, you can see almost everything was cached. You will notice some things like Carl was also cached. Why? This is because I ran this a while back, less than an hour ago. So this is coming from Redis, not from the internal cache. I can just to illustrate how this would be different. If we're not caching, well, that's wrong. Okay, so my cache invalidation is not working, but the idea was you'll be able to cache almost everything. You'll see the time to run 10,000 cache checks was almost instantaneous. And in the case of Dan here, where we wanted the cache to be 0. So in the case of Dan, we were 0. It was not being cached, so we were hitting false, getting it cached every time. So yeah, we have a bug in the invalidation where it's not expiring on the second request, but basically these are all true because we set the cache for an hour. That's basically it. What we want to know from you is, do you have a need? Like, does this help you? Would you, what more do you want to do in caching? Will be if we have a POC, a very early POC, would you be willing to try it and test it and give us feedback? These sorts of that's what we have for now. But yeah, and we have a POC for Go and for JS for people who want to try.
Yeah, well, can I ask if this is only in Go? And so this is in SDK layer?
Yes, This is all in the SDK layer, so not on the API.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea of having, it's not unlocked by us. You can do it by through those external tools, where the idea of having both an in-memory and external cache allows you to get the best of both worlds. Caching in memory means much faster response time, but it means you can't cache a lot because you run out of memory. But you still want to not caching in Redis helps with that. But so caching in both at the same time is kind of the best of both worlds, and this definitely unlocks that.
So you're doing this on the SDK side, rather than the client side.
Yes.
Which that means you're caching the final check results. You're not caching the sub problems that the check has evaluated.
Yes. So this is the cache, the sub problem caching is a different workstream we are working on, but this is particularly on the SDK side.
Okay. And how are you handling invalidations through, whenever tuples are created, deleted?
So the tuples invalidation won't be per tuple. We may in the future add that in invalidation locally based on added tuples, but right now caching is purely based on TTL. So you'll be able to give us that TTL, and based on that we'll cache. You can override the TTL, so you can cache, for example, for 1 hour, but if the subsequent request says 3 minutes and more than 3 minutes have passed, we should invalidate, and that's the part you saw not working in my demo. But the idea is each request will specify its own TTL, and based on that, we will either use the cached value if it's still valid, or drop it if it's not valid.
Okay. I remember, Gulin, that you were doing client-side caching for the permissions that a user can perform in the UI, right?
Yes. So because we have this layer in front of OpenFGA, we cache everything. And because we control how tuples are created and deleted by the services, we have instant invalidation as well. So if a tuple is, let's say, deleted, we have tags for all the cached items in our cache for the object and the user. And then we go out and just invalidate everything that's cached related to that tuple.
Interesting. So we might want to talk to you a little more about how you're doing that.
Yeah.
And that's something that makes sense for us to use here, because you are doing that on a service that wraps FGA, right? Or on top of that service.
So there's FGA, and then there is this access control service that does all this caching and validation stuff.
So if we support it in the SDK, that would work, but you need to support the semantics that you want, right?
Yeah, we're basically looking for invalidations as well.
Yeah, makes sense.
We will have to do it in a way that's that will work for all, basically still giving you the control, because we don't know, the SDK does not know how the model affects the tuples.
Yeah.
In the future it might. So that's future work. But for now, we need to give you access because you know this. So being able to invalidate them yourself. And as Andrea said, we'd love to talk to you more about that.